What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel.
So as you know, our 2011 Honda Accord was recently damaged on a rental. The renter was driving on the highway on the way back home, came to a complete stop, but the person behind him didn't until it smacked in the back of him. So as you can see, some pretty serious damage. It's not looking good.
So you can see here that the bumper has some pretty bad damage. I don't know if we can get the shot because of the light, but there is some of the interior components are damaged as well. Obviously, the trunk, the lights are also damaged. And there's also some minor damage on the front as well. It became like unlatched here, and then the emblem's gone.
And the back of the driver's seat casing fell off, but it fell off for a reason. This lower support bracket is bent up really badly, and now there is a safety restraint light or an airbag light on, and I'm pretty sure it's because this seat broke a sensor somewhere in there, so not looking good.
Now, in the previous video we made on this car, we had mentioned that we were going to attempt to file a damage claim through the third-party insurance rather than going through Turo directly. And unfortunately, even though the claim seems to be pretty cookie cutter, at least on the surface, considering the fact it's a rear ending, they actually ended up denying the claim. We went through the entire process of filing, we answered their questions, we submitted photos, and they stated that because of the fact that their insured driver was rear-ended by somebody, thus sending them into our driver, that they weren't going to cover. And to be honest, I don't feel like that makes sense, because I was under the impression that if you hit somebody, it means you were following too closely and you're still liable. Is that not the case?
Yeah, they'd have to be pushed into that car essentially, or it'd have to be some pretty severe damage on the back of her car, pretty similar to what happened to ours, but I mean, we never heard of a third driver until now.
We didn't, not until the claim was denied. So that was unfortunate.
So thankfully we had 20 days to get Turo involved in the claims process, which we did on day number 14. And they did approve our claim and we got paid out. So now it's time to go get it fixed.
So we are taking this car to, where are we taking it? Honda Body Shop?
No, Crest Body Shop.
Crest Body Shop. To get a quote done on the car. HP still thinks that there's a chance that the car is totaled. Turo did deem that the car was not totaled. They did pay us out, but I suppose there's always a possibility, so we'll have to just see what Crest says. One of HP and I's neighbors has a dog that is just absolutely horrible. Now, I am a huge dog lover. I love all dogs, but this dog specifically, I am just not a fan of. And Nico and this dog hate each other. So every single time we leave the house with Nico, he freaks out and cries and barks as we pass that person's house. It's just absolutely insane. I think that they have some sort of like, I don't know, they're like each other's arch enemies or something. It's crazy. And he's been doing it for like 5 or 6 years at this point.
Alrighty, dropped off. Even one of the guys that was just handing off the keys to said, yeah, it's pretty bad. Really? And he said Honda in particular is probably one of the more harder manufacturers to get parts for right now, so, ooh, I don't know. If it does end up getting fixed, it's gonna be a while until we see it.
Are you upset about this?
You don't like it either? I know.
Honestly, there's a big part of me that sort of wants the car to be totaled purely because I do think this is one of those accidents where the car may never be the same even once it's fixed. I also am not super jazzed with the idea of having to wait, you know, 2 months, 3 months until it's fixed. But at the same time, the claim ratio with Turo is important, and I know it doesn't look good to have 4 total losses in 5 months. So for that sake of the argument, I don't want it to be totaled. So I don't know how I feel. So did they say anything about like an ETA when it would be done?
No, they didn't, unfortunately, but we have an appointment set for today, and it should only take about 1 or 2 days for them to get back with us, considering they just really have to look at it and say, these parts cost this much, labor will cost this much, here's your bill. when can we get started?
Look at those beautiful cows. You're free.
Now, typically we like to fix these vehicles by ourselves, but when it starts getting down to actual body work versus just body panels that need to be replaced, we leave it to the pros.
That's why we opted to take the Honda to a shop rather than have HP fix it himself. But our Toyota Yaris is a good example of a car that was recently damaged where HP will be fixing it himself.
Which you can see right here on the front bumper of the Toyota Yaris. Now it actually looks kind of worse than it looks out front.
Yeah, she's not in the best of shape. Someone took our gauge cluster on the inside. It was me. I took the gauge cluster. I took the gauge cluster out because the lens of the new Yaris that was almost identical to this one is all bent and beat up, and this car's not really going anywhere for very long, so we decided to steal a few parts from it.
Now as you can see, obviously this involves some front end damage on the car.
The guest rear-ended the person while she was driving, and yeah, that's what happened. But unlike the Honda, which I think is worse than it looks, I think that the Yaris is better than it looks because of the fact the damage is really secluded to the body and not any frame damage or electrical damage.
Yeah, the worst extent is really just the horn got cut, but other than that, we got a bumper coming, and I've got a new Toyota emblem coming, so not really that much to really replace. Might just have to bend a few things back in place, but we'll be ready to go.
Now we were able to find a used bumper on eBay. We purchased it for about $250. HP bought a new emblem from Toyota. How much was that?
Like 30 bucks.
30 bucks. So we'll get the entire thing fixed for about $300, of course, not including HP's time. We were paid out just over $500 for this claim. So I think once we take into account your time, it'll end up being a wash, which is fine. Not every claim is profitable, and to be honest, over the years, claims have become less profitable. So anytime we can get a claim done without losing money, that's a win.
So the parts for this car won't be here for about another week or so, so it's gonna stay back parked here until we get parts in and I can start working on it. And the Honda's gonna be in limbo for about another day or so until they can get around and get the complete estimate of exactly how much work that car actually needs. So we'll see you then. Well, we got an update for the Honda. It's not good.
And in short, it's totaled. So we ended up getting the quote back from the repair shop, and it was significantly more than, honestly, than I thought it would be, but definitely more than what Turo anticipated that it would be, at least more than they gave us.
Yeah.
So to give you guys some context, Turo gave us about $4,300 for this claim.
And in parts alone, it exceeded that claim. Parts came in at $6,200. Body labor, so working on the actual car itself and straightening it out, $2,700. Paint labor, right at $1,100. Paint supplies, right about $908. And lastly, miscellaneous goods and bits, right about $432. With a grand total of $12,143.27.
Which is a lot higher than what Turo had said it would be, much higher than what they gave us, and that brings it to the point where the car is, I would say, almost without a doubt totaled.
No, yeah, absolutely. The ACV value of this vehicle is right about $12,400 or so.
So the damage almost reaches 100% of the value of the car, so there's really no hope with this.
Which is a big bummer.
So because of the fact that Turo already paid us out for a portion of this claim, we do have to go back to Turo and say, hey, I know that you paid us out, but we took it to a shop and it seems as though the damage is significantly more than what you anticipated. So then we'll have to get IAA, their total loss insurance arm, involved and go through that entire process to get the claim settled. I would assume that it'll probably be a couple of weeks, especially with the Easter holiday coming up, a couple of weeks before we get any sort of real resolution to this. But the one thing that this does mean is we are back to 13 cars.
So if you want to sell your car, please let us know. We need a car. We need multiple cars.
We need multiple cars.
But guys, as always, be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe, and hey, hit that notification bell. And we'll see you in the next episode.